Hey everyone, this is Kevin the Apptrepreneur, and I think we need a new phrase for what gig economy is, because let's face it, kind of like how when you go to the internet and you're not searching the internet, you're Googling something. I think the gig economy has become so synonymous with Uber that there's really no getting around it. What's Postmates? Oh, it's like Uber, but for food. What's Lyft? It's like Uber, but for package delivery. What's Lyft? It's like Uber when you can't afford Uber, because basically it's the same thing. We don't really know what the difference is anymore. And basically, Uber has been used to describe anything that's on demand, real quick, real fast. What's Mobile Wash? It's car washes, like Uber. Or it's Uber for car washes. That's what it is. I'm getting off topic there. But anyway, I think that Uber started something and they got into the gig economy thing and they created the gig economy essentially, but they have now taken over so much, and whatever people try to do, like, oh, we're going to do this Uber style, Uber eventually enters that market. When it comes to employment and working and stuff, we have sites in the gig economy that you can get odd jobs and just do something here and there and get a little extra money and not have any commitment. It's called TaskRabbit. It's also called Shift Gig. And if you want to walk dogs, it's called WAG. It's like Uber, but for dog walking. And I think we need to come up with a new term, and we need to say this job has been Uberfied. So like when someone says, hey, what's wash? It's like, that's laundry Uberfied. I think everyone knows what that would mean. It'd mean like, oh yeah, you're going to get basically a low-paid person who doesn't have a whole lot of self-esteem to wash your clothes for you. I may have just offended an awful lot of my viewers by saying that, but you know what? We're going to stick with this because this is actually the 4th time I'm doing this take, and this video has not been coming out the way I've been anticipating. So let's talk about what I'm really talking about, because Uber is developing an on-demand staffing business, as you can see from TechCrunch. Uber is reportedly developing a short-term staffing business to offer 1099 independent contractors for events and corporate functions, the Financial Times first reported. Dubbed UberWORKS, the service... UberWORKS. There's like about a dozen jokes I can think of just by that title alone, but we're already behind schedule, so let's continue. The service would provide waiters, security guards, and other temporary staffers to business partners, a source close to Uber told TechCrunch. Oh yeah, that's what you want to have be a temporary job from someone who is just getting a little extra money, isn't taking their job too seriously. A security guard. Are we going to have Uber police next? Like, instead of paying those pesky taxes for the police and firemen, are we going to, like, press a button and see who's going to put out the fire to our house, or who's going to arrest the thief who's breaking into our building and who's willing to do it for $5 an hour? I joke, but I don't know if we're that far off yet, so. Uber has been working on the project for several months in Chicago. Oh, Chicago. Boy, do I love Chicago. I love how Chicago just gives me so many reasons to take pot shots at them. After first trialing the project in Los Angeles, okay, well, now I'm on the hook for that one. All of whom who have become familiarized with the process of filing taxes as an independent contractor, who may be looking for additional work. However, Uber's current pilot program does not include active Uber drivers, which is interesting. UberWORKS falls under the purview of Rachel Holt. Oh, Rachel Holt, I haven't heard from her in a while, who stepped into the role of head of new modalities in June. Holt, who has been with Uber since 2011, is tasked with ramping up and onboarding new mobility services like bikes, scooters, car rentals, and public transit integration. In a job posting for a general manager to lead special projects in Chicago, Uber says, our business is based around providing a flexible, on-demand supply for our business partners. It's imperative that we have intuitive and responsive account management to support for our business partners in addressing their needs promptly. Uber declined to comment for this story, but as the company gears up for its initial public offering next year, Uber is clearly trying to diversify its business. Well, of course, because their core product doesn't make any money. It just doesn't. So, I mean, what's a good way to point it out? That's almost kind of like the 4Kids entertainment model. For those of you who don't remember what they are, they were like a television company. And for many years, they admitted this, their TV shows didn't make money. They made money through merchandise. They merchandised the shows. And once they started making a bunch of shows that weren't merchandisable, then they, well, filed for Chapter 11, and I think they're actually bankrupt now. So, yeah, maybe, I don't know. Let's see here. And let's see here. Where was I? Oh, yeah. In the last year, Uber doubled down on multi-modal transportation with the acquisition and deployment of Jump Bike Share. In the last month, Uber deployed electric scooters in Santa Monica, California. And yeah, we all know how that turned out. Whether this effort launch remained... Oh, there's a pop-up block. That was... Whether this effort launches remains to be seen... I screwed that up. Whether this effort launches remains to be seen... But it's certainly something Uber is exploring and positioning on a business-to-business service. In a similar vein, Uber is also working to create a pipeline to hire some of its driver partners. Okay, so, again, so let's start with the obvious. Does UberWORKS... I'm holding back making so many snarky comments about that name, but I'm going to try to keep this just barely over 10 minutes because... my video should not be 13 minutes long in most cases. But anyway, UberWORKS. Is it a good idea? Of course it's a good idea. People have been trying to get on-demand workers for a long time for a multitude of reasons. Sometimes it's because they just simply want people who are cheaper, who are willing to work for a couple days, and they don't need someone to commit long-term. Heck, you could get people to work projects around your house using this app, and it would probably be fine. Also, it's a good way to get temporary workers. I do some part-time work for a company that hires temporary workers all the time. They will probably sign up for UberWORKS and they will probably love it because they will have so many people coming in that they won't know what to do with them. Now, is this bad for the economy? Oh, potentially yes. Potentially yes, because if it's successful enough, if it is truly successful in getting people a consistent rotating barrage of people, if you will. I don't know what the term is. If you get enough people coming in and out all the time, then maybe you don't need, permanent employees. Yeah, at most jobs you still will, but like what about like McDonald's or Target or something where you can train these people in like an hour to know what they need to do. UberWORKS would be great, and then it would also be like a built-in resume, so like yeah, they put this out there, and if people are skilled with flipping burgers, people would check in, they'd find out who they need to flip burgers for that day. The companies would see, oh yeah, they've had experiences doing this, let's bring them in, and you might not have too many full-time employees anymore. Now, granted, these companies don't normally pay benefits or anything, but as we've discovered with most Uber products, whenever Uberfy something, it always starts out like you're getting paid really well. Here's how I predict this will turn out. I believe this will be a successful launch. I believe that the money will be good, the commitment will be minimal, and it will be flexible. And so it'll be everything we want, just like Uber once was. Then, as it becomes more and more successful, and once people start depending on it more, and once people start contributing more, and once people quitting is not a concern for the company anymore, then the rates will get cut, and the pay will go down. But people will cling to that flexibility. People really, really like being flexible. And trust me, someone who's a little less flexible these days because of the part-time job, I do miss the days where it's like, yeah, every day I'm completely free. I can do whatever I want. And at some point, I will get back to that. This is like a very temporary thing, the part-time thing. But I took the part-time thing because while I make a lot of money being flexible, I needed just a little bit more to stay flexible. And so I took some flexibility out of the equation to get there. What I've always found fascinating about the Uber culture is that there's a lot of drivers out there, a lot of drivers that some of them I even say I respect a little bit, who will not give it up and do not want sensible regulation for Uber because they like being flexible. They like going on and off whenever they want. And I have wondered several times if that is not, how should I put this? If that's not overlooking a bigger problem. Because you don't want that to be the norm where it's like you're working for slave wages and scraps, but you can work whenever you want. That's like a very, very bad trade-off. If you have to choose between a livable wage and one where you can sleep until noon and then start work at 2 and get off at 6, pick the living wage. It's called a living wage for a reason. You need it to live. And the concern that I have for Uberfying the general work population, I suppose, is that it will start out great and it'll be like, yeah, who needs to be a regular employee? I'll just take the jobs as they become available. And as more people do it and more people depend on it, Uber will eventually, in their attempts to stay competitive and to stay on top, because you know other app companies will create a service like this, they will cut the pay and people will start getting screwed. And they'll know they're getting screwed, but they will really want to not be told they have to come in at 9 and leave at 5. So they will, keep using it. So it's a little bit of a concern of mine. And I guess my question is, what about you guys? Do you see it as a concern? Would you use UberWORKS? By the way, what jokes can you think of about UberWORKS? Just the title alone. Share them below. Okay, I'll share one. UberWORKS. Really? Uber hasn't been working for a couple of years. What's changed? Okay, it's a bad one. Like I said, I came up with a dozen of them. That's just the first one I thought. Anyway, share what your UberWORKS joke is and whether or not you would use this app. So comment below, like, favorite, share, subscribe. If you enjoy my videos, consider becoming a Patreon member. It's totally optional, of course, but even as little as $1 a month goes a long way in helping the channel run smoothly. And as always, flame responsibly. Have a good one. Are we really sure Uber works?